Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for ReZero Season 2, Episode 21, and I'm at home! Woo! Feels good to be back. Feels bad that it's a total mess, and I'm working on it and struggling. It's so hard for me to wrap my head around, organizing a space. I feel like just staring at an intractable obstacle. But that's okay because I've gotten enough stuff organized and arranged that I can sit down and turn on the camera and record some ReZero. So just a couple days after the previous episode that we watched, where we had a bit of a square off between Subaru and Roswaal and finished off the trial for Emilia and talked a bunch of things through and saw a huge amount of Roswaal's past and understood finally some of his very interesting relationship with Echidna, and finally came full circle on a parallel that had to be reminded to me by the comments, but was set up many, many moons ago in a little OVA where Subaru was all smish-mashed together. I still don't find it terribly compelling as a visual representation, but the thematic representation is another story. I think this idea that Roswaal is a person who, when he was young, went through a circumstance not that unlike Subaru's, and because of different choices and circumstances that he made and fell into, and sort of damage that he seems to have incorporated and taken upon himself in the wake of his defeat success sort of thing, he's continued on this one line of thinking, unchanged, unquestioned, unquestionable, like as though he refuses to ever doubt it for 400 years. And now he is faced down by the emergence of a young man not that dissimilar from himself with a totally different set of ideals, and Roswaal can't help but see them as similar, as mirrors, as foils to one another. And even so, he stands strong and firm in his beliefs. This is my conviction. And his convictions are strong, and there's something admirable about that. But there's also something wrong and foolish and broken about being so certain that the way that you have done it is the way that it should have been done. This refusal to change, to see new circumstances, is part of the story. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't know how to say it. The story. The one that we're all a part of. The one we all play out in our own ways. It's like a pivotal and classic story. The young man, or whatever, but the young man rises to greatness through some difficult and powerful choices that he makes. He chooses to decide, right? And he chooses to care about certain things, and he pursues them to the utmost and establishes himself. In Roswaal's case, that's pursuing the Mather's household and the domain and the all this power and stuff that he's pursued, all in the name of his love for Echidna, this love of weakness that he's come to, and this conclusion, this set of conclusions that he's come to. And then, having established himself and become comfortable in it, despite it being a source of discomfort for him, right? It's his weakness. It's like his greatest shame, and yet his whole ego and identity is wrapped up in and around it. Not in sort of in preventing it from ever happening, but also in living in it forever, unchanging and unwilling to let that trauma slide off of him, unwilling to try to work through it in any way. And then comes the twist, the change that's pivotal and so interesting. At some point, Roswaal changes from an idealistic young man fighting against things to being the thing that the idealistic young men are fighting against. And it almost strikes him as strange because he thinks he's still the same person, but he's not. He's on the other side of the power struggle, on the other side of the paradigm. Okay, let's zoom out. Boomers. Yeah, but applied to real world boomers. Okay, I'm serious. My dad's a boomer, and many of your parents are boomers. Maybe some of you are boomers. I've always hated boomer as a word because it feels derogatory in and of itself, but we'll stick with it. During their time, the boomers were a radical fucking group of people, you know? They came out of this set of generations that had experienced great hardship and war, and experienced this changing of ideals and opportunities where they started to see the previous power systems and systems that they had invested themselves in as like maybe fucked up and wrong. And in the wake of the World War and the changes to global hegemony and the ways that our wars and systems began changing, those people sort of rebelled. Like they were against the way that things were going. The current power systems were not right and needed to be changed. And there was this huge outpouring of creative energy and work and back to the land movements and cults and insanity and drug use and anti-Vietnam protests and peace, love, unity, respect, all the jazz. And now, somehow, in the interim, we cut to a number of decades later, and they're like on the other side of the thing and digging their heels in. As they've aged, they've become more and more conservative, more and more invested in traditions and the way that things should be based in the way that things were for them. And in many ways, they've shed their rebellious attitudes of youth in favor of conservative attitudes of older age and fear. They've become the very systems, the very leaders and rulers that they sought to undermine and remove during their own peaks of youthful indignance at the way that the world is. How does that happen? And are we all destined to repeat that pattern? It seems as though artistry seems like it enables some pathway out of that. I don't know how. It's a struggle that I'm a part of too, because I'm a young man with rebellious ideas and I don't want to become another brick in the wall. But this is one of those stories, and it's striking and difficult. Now we have Roswaal creating hardship and struggle for Subaru in order to mold him into his own shape, kind of. To make him see the way that Roswaal sees. Neither of them will back down. And in our mind, Subaru won't back down because he's fucking right. Roswaal won't back down because he can't. But from Roswaal's perspective, Roswaal won't back down because he's right, and Subaru won't back down because he's a young fool who doesn't know any better and hasn't been beaten down properly. That's why Roswaal kept kicking him earlier, right? It's like, finally, having seen Roswaal get destroyed by Hector, and putting it together that he now wears that jester's motley, that he now wears that diamond pattern melancholy outfit that his, like, the person who shattered him wore. Now having him beat Subaru in previous loops makes perfect sense, right? Because that's what inspires him, so it must be the only thing that will inspire. And if that doesn't read like boomers beating their kids because they got beaten and it worked out great for them, then I don't know what does. That feels just right the fuck on. Just right on. But again, we've seen Subaru's perspective. We've seen how it's going, and it's going, right? Roswaal had this broken foe relationship with a god, and he never understood it as far as I can tell. Now, maybe he did. Maybe I'm wrong and he's full eyes wide open on this, but he seems super eyes wide shut about it. Does that make sense? He's like, I understand completely this thing that I totally don't understand at all. She loves me. It's like, I don't think so, man. She loves that you pursue knowledge. She thinks that's pretty cool. I don't know. It's strange. It's strange. And I'm really curious because I don't have an exact, like, finger on the button pulse of the answer for this one. Something about it, though. We've done things very differently from the way that Roswaal does, and maybe that's why laying their faces over each other doesn't feel right to me. And maybe that's why I responded kind of negatively when Roswaal said this line about, like, you and I are just the same. We both impose our ideals upon the women that we love. Because there are layers to that statement that are pretty revealing about Roswaal's perspective. One, women that we love is like, I don't know if that's quite the situation that you're in with Echidna, my guy. I think Roswaal has glimpsed... we can zoom out, we can go super analytical with it, and we can say Roswaal has glimpsed the divine feminine and is pursuing it without a knowledge of what it really means. And I think the other part is that Roswaal's wrong about what he says. He would have been right about it many months or whatever ago. He would have been very right about it before the conversation between Subaru and Emilia about being the knight, the conversation in bed, where she said to him, "The Emilia that lives inside your mind must be really great." Because at that point, it was true. At that point, Subaru was imposing his ideals. And I think maybe I also responded to the translation of the word imposing, because it's more like projecting, right? Superimposing, perhaps. I wouldn't have had a problem with projecting 100%. Imposing your ideals. That is definitely what Roswaal has been doing. Because he's imposing them on a blank canvas that he doesn't understand. This goddess who's fathomless, is knowledge incarnate, and doesn't really have these emotional states in the way that Roswaal sort of seems to project. That's projection. Subaru was projecting, and Roswaal thinks he will always be projecting. But he and Emilia have come to see each other for real. At least I think so. I think that's the story that we've told, right? Like, Subaru overcame that obstacle and needed to get to this point. And will have needed to in order to, like, succeed at this point. There's no succeeding past this unless he's moved past where Roswaal has been stuck for 400 years. And that's a part of the story, too. I hope. I think and I hope. In a Frieren level kind of a way, in a generations in the future might have a chance at success when we are stuck. I think that's what hope for humanity and for life maybe is. There's this self-overcoming process, and many of the struggles that we have we can self-overcome within our own lifetimes, right? Like Subaru has. He's got some difficulties and struggles that he placed upon Emilia, and then in communicating with Emilia and like struggling through some more stuff, has overcome them and actually overcome his own obstacles within his own lifetime through the process of some loops and some magic and stuff. But we've already drawn this parallel to say that, like, you loop every day that you wake up, and you get to make a new choice about how your day is going to be. The sun goes down and you're dead, and the sun rises and you're awake. Petite mort, little death. Like, this all makes sense to us, I think. So in your own lifetime, in your own day, in your own hour, in your own minute, you can make choices that are self-overcoming. I'm making a choice that's self-overcoming to get off my stupid ass and record a video today, despite feeling really overwhelmed about the state of my room and my location and all these other things. And there's a car that's got trouble that I have to deal with. And Seraph is struggling off where they are. There are things going on with them and their mom, and it's like hard. There's just lots of stuff going on. And it's like, oh, I could get discombobulated and whatever. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record a video because that's actually going to be the thing that helps me move forward in reality. Okay. Self-overcoming in the micro. And maybe you can self-overcome over the course of, like, years. You've got some childhood trauma, I expect. Right? Probably. Good on you if you don't. You've got some trauma from elsewhere. Maybe you've not overcome it. Maybe you could. Right? Maybe within your lifetime you could. Maybe you've got a fucking huge heaping helping of problems and struggles and shit that you can't overcome. Maybe you've incorporated some of the state of reality and taken that as a responsibility. I kind of have, and it's a hard thing to do because the state of reality is kind of fucked. And then you can get really overwhelmed by that. It's like, well, I'll never have a chance to do anything because I'm small and powerless and I have a short, tiny lifespan. And, oh, right, you're not alone. There are other people. Maybe they can overcome. And you won't be the last of us, right? There will be more after us, so maybe they could overcome, and maybe you could set a groundwork for them, and blah, 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 blah. That's the story, is the next generation has a chance. But the previous generation always tries to be fucking bricks in the wall and prevent them from having that chance, and that's what Roswaal's kind of doing here. He sees it as the progress, as the way forward, but it's his way forward that he's been stuck on for 400 years and it hasn't worked. So maybe he needs to listen to the young people who have a better idea. But he won't, not until he's beaten down and shown. And as I sort of theorized at the end of the last episode, he might still never be able to see that, to, like, really vibe and feel it. I sat down to do a new drawing today, but I think I actually want to pull up a previous drawing. I've never done that, but it's a drawing that I did while I was out and about. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, we got another half face. This is not the one I was thinking of, but that's fun. Got a thing that I'm designing that I need to try to turn into a CAD thing. That's the Roswaal face from the last time. I think I actually showed this image of this drawing. That's a train ride of this drawing the last time, but I'm still gonna pull it up because I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really fitting. This is one of my favorite things that I've drawn in a while, because we've got this small figure in light standing on the shoulders of a larger figure that merges into shadow, and then gripping it by the throat as though it's his own shadow and strangling it while the shadow has its like hands up and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't I don't know where the fuck this came from in my mind, but I found it immediately striking and immediately read everything about reality into it the way that you do, you know? Here you are, standing on the shoulders of giants, a previous generation, a stronger person, someone bigger than you know? And then grappling with them, right? Like clambering up on them in struggle as they're striding forward so that you can leap forward off of them, but then also in a battle with them and yourself in that moment, right? It's like your shadow is them and you're standing on that too. It feels so deeply human to me. It feels so deeply human to me to to struggle against the history of your physicality, of where you come from, of what has come before, and find ways to scramble up it and into the future, only to find that you are it in some way and must battle that as well. But there's also this idea of grabbing hold of your shadow self, of gripping that bitch and going, motherfucker, you're working with me. We're in this together. Taking hold of the parts of you that you don't like and like accepting them and turning them into strength. That feels like it's not what Roswaal has done. It feels like it's what Subaru is doing. It's built into him, the shamak, the powers, the darkness. It's built into him, this shadow self idea. But Roswaal has this strange relationship to weakness. This strange relationship to weakness that colors everything that he does. I'm really curious to see how this battle of shadows and faces will play out. So, let's go ahead. And having read into that and blathered plenty, let's go ahead and watch episode 21 of season 2 of ReZero and see how we feel about it. I've got the episode up and ready to go. I am hoping beyond hope that everything records really well and wonderfully and gloriously. That would be super great. Thanks so much for joining me for this episode of ReZero. We're going to watch it. It should be interesting. And then we'll be moving pretty quickly toward the finale. It's not that many episodes away. Exciting stuff. I've got episode 21 up and ready to go. There will be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, and a beep-beep time to count down. Let's get into it. Can we do some magic about it? Oh. Ride a big tiger? Huh? Wow. Yeah, that would have changed everything. All right, let's ride a big tiger boy. We're gonna ride a big tiger boy there, right? That is what we're doing. Whoa. What are they? Are they greaves? Bracers? Oh, beat the strongest. They do? Yeah, he has an idiom. That's the first one that makes sense. That one actually made sense. What the fuck? Hmm. Counting on our enemy? I don't get it, but that's okay. Whoosh. Aww. She was talking to Emilia, right? Okay. Counting on you. Sweet. Trust. What's an internal officer? God, let's go save fucking Petra. Yeah. I wanted to know that too. Oh, we're gonna get the OP. Okay, so it's the mansion. That's the setup here. It's very Spider-Man. Does that make sense? It's very Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and then another thing, or Batman explosion thing, whatever it was. Classic. I guess that fits Roswell's perspective, as far as I understand it, which I don't think I understand it very well, to be clear. I think that fits his perspective. Is like, I'm gonna force you into an impossible choice. Oh, that was Melancholy Boy. That was Elsa. Run, tiny Amelia, run! Reaching out to Betty. And he's gonna fight Elsa. God, oh, with two shieldy thingy arm bracer thingies versus two blades? Look, they could animate the fuck out of that. I'm just saying they could animate the fuck out of that. I'm not gonna be disappointed if they don't, but I'm gonna be disappointed if they don't. Oh, okay, we're here. Very clever ground dragon indeed. Patrash is the best. Aw, she understands completely. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's done. We did it. Yeah, that's fucked. Yeah, but she's smiling. She's got it. Yeah. Stronger is the operative word, too, right? Like, not remaining weak. Truly sorry? Whoa. Whoa! That's really cute. You who determined that helping would be worth my while. Oh, is she gonna ask her for something? Whoa. And so the helping was to prove herself. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, Ram. But yeah, there is not a clean conclusion. Words written purely for aesthetics. Yeah, that is a great way to put it. Just for the doing of it. Are you sure about that? Hold on, 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 hold on. I'm not sure if that's a deal that you want to make. Hold on, there might be some things. Hold on, wait, what? I thought his deal was the dragon. Damn, emotion from Ram, though. Deeply sincere about this. We know that she cares for real for Roswaal. There's an implication that there might be some romantic in that. Like, looks at me only like a tool. Yeah, me neither, but I'm really curious. Wow. I'll do my best, baby. Wow. Fucking terrifying to ask for help like that. Oh, I thought she was gonna have had her head. I wanted some same-sex head pats. What the fuck? My guy, you look spooky. All right, let's talk it out. She's scared? Korewa, korewa. Yeah. I don't want your pity, bro. Whoa. No idea how to be loved except to do what other people want of you. Fuck. Everybody's got a low opinion of Emilia. Yeah. Fuck you, man. It's a different attitude toward weakness. Yeah, because they're. No, 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 no. How dare you? So you're gonna claim responsibility for it all? He encourages you to hurt. No, you don't. No, you're not. There he goes again. All to manipulate you. This is the struggle. Grip harder. That is a fear that I have. Is that all you got? Yeah. Yeah. Nani? Nani? Impossible. It's not quite what he said, but it is the way that she needed to incorporate it. That's really interesting. And accepts it, weakness and all. You're all masks, man. You're all masks, man. Where's the person underneath, huh? But of course he was. Whoa, I decide that that's true. That's really potent stuff. Turn the lies into wishes is exactly right. How how dare Whoa, you just continue to change. Is that good or is he gonna kill her? I can't tell. I can't tell if he's gonna be happy about this or try to kill her. What? I mean, ours too. Yeah, right. Ours too. What? Dude, this was started hundreds of years ago. Going? She going back in? She's going back in. She's going for round two right now? Yeah. 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 Like, she thinks she understands his plans, and I really don't. We really don't. It's one of those mysteries that's been kept away from us. But also, the world coming to its end is really interesting. He thinks she's still completely on his. Tell us, tell us, tell us. But she said that was the first time I have inclined my head and meant it, and she didn't say to you. That bet? Are we in past? This is past because the vignetting. Hell yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me clean his wounds. I'll make him better. Do something about her? What do you mean? Okay, so I still don't understand. Down here. Oh, hi, buddy. Yeah, she's not following orders very well. What are you pointing at, Roswaal? You have a wand? Dude, you don't call a delusional people delusions. You don't call a delusional person's thoughts delusions. I think it was. And it worked. So the taking Garf down a peg. Lose. Die. What is he about to pull out of his sleeve? Is she gonna try to destroy it? So she's saying that she will be his death? What the fuck? What? Huh? I have no idea what's happening. Hmm. The bunnies. But now I'm awake and ready. No, she needs to talk to you. She wants to save him. She doesn't actually want to kill him. She cares about him immensely. He views it as just a revenge thing, but she actually doesn't. Yeah, he truly doesn't understand. That's why this is so confusing, is he's talking at a wall. He's, like, completely wrong. You got friends? Oh. Is that the homie? That's the homie. What's up, homie? Yeah, you're just chilling. Where the fuck have you been, asshole? Yeah, that's an even battle. So Ram actually sways it. Okay, so we're gonna set this up on one side and then the other battle on the other side? That's what we should do here, right? Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Petra? The little mustache. Oh. This is gonna get spooky. I love her so much. I love her so much. Yay! Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna peek at them bowels. What's up? And monsters. Fuck. Get the fuck out, Petra. Sick. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Where's the other one? Also, little spirit girl? Oh, Beatrice. Beatrice, open the door. Betty, 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 Betty. Betty. We're building up to a climax of suddenly Subaru arrives or something like that. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You called? Aww. That's fucking silly. What's up? That's cute. Yeah, dude, we're fucked. Yeah. Let's go get Betty. Garf and Otto? Oh. Oh, yeah, reunion. She wants to cut your stomach open. She really wants to cut your stomach open. Yeah. It's all she wants. Yeah, he's got clangy clangs. Yeah, logic. Yep, that's her. Man, we've seen you grow tiger though. Both of you, please go full tiger mode and kill the fuck out of Elsa, please. Can you eat her guts? I'm in love with her sister. Yeah, you are. He really has grown up big. Oh, his full acceptance of self and other has turned Garf into the strongest boy. Please, yeah, please kill the fuck out of her. Please fuck the kill out of her. God. Bam. Reunion of Roars. That's a good thing. Oh, oh, hi. So we're gonna do this again. Now armed with a little bit more, ah. Yeah. Sure. I'll accept that. For my reasons. That's such a silly place to end. This whole episode was kind of silly in certain ways. Partly because there there's a bunch of stuff where characters are talking, specifically Roswaal, are talking in veiled terms about stuff that we're not allowed to understand. Because it seems like it's plot point stuff that we just haven't been revealed yet. And so it ends up being kind of all back and forth with a lot of ego and but without much yum yum yum. But yeah, yeah, yeah. But it does seem to make a lot of sense to me. Roswaal stands alone and stands for all of his plans, and he continues to misinterpret people's actions around him, even as people move to help, assist, and work with him. We have we have Ram talk to Emilia. And to be fair, we can zoom out and go I don't actually know if Ram is telling the truth to Emilia or telling the truth to Roswaal, but it seems pretty clear to me that she's telling the truth to Emilia, and that when Roswaal walks up, he sort of, well, does what he's been claiming that he and Subaru do the whole time, impose his wills upon the women that we love. In this case, it's not seemingly a woman that he loves, but on Ram, he's imposing his ideals and will on her, and doesn't even seem to take it as a possibility that maybe she's betraying him, and maybe she doesn't actually agree with his ideals. It's just sort of wrote for him up until the point that she actually betrays him and does exactly what he didn't tell her to. So I'm really curious about strongest that there is. I'm really curious about When Ram says, "This is the first time I've inclined my head and actually meant it," because that means it would indicate that all the times that she's done so to Roswaal, she hasn't meant it. So Emilia emerges from the trial and is immediately met with two people who both tell her they didn't think that she could do it. But the way that Ram says that, it's in her normal brusque sort of manner. But it's like, I didn't think that you would do it. And yet she chose to align herself with this possibility in order to demonstrate her sincerity. Because she doesn't have a way out. That's the way that I'm reading this. She doesn't have another way to fix Roswaal or to save him. And she doesn't think that Emilia can do it, but on the off chance that there's a chance, she puts her bet and faith in that. That's pretty interesting. You truly have grown stronger. I am truly sorry. And she nods her head. This is the first time I've ever lowered my head and meant it. And she's saying that inclusively, like to everybody. It's to say that every other time she's done that, she's been forced into it. She hasn't meant it. It's been for a purpose. Even the time she's done it to Emilia. Even moments ago, you know? Which fits. It fits for her personality. It fits for who she is. She thinks way too highly of herself to do that. And so it means a lot that she's saying that this is what it means now. I didn't believe that you would get back on your feet. So did you help them just because you thought it was just a crybaby? And there's this line that I love immediately after it. Don't be silly. It was you I helped, not them. And I love this. And you who determined that helping would be worth my while. Whoa. I don't know how to wrap my head around that. As someone who seeks to help people a lot, and I'm kind of driven toward it, like compelled to, in ways that I can't understand quite yet about myself. This somehow strikes me. I chose to help you, but you chose to make it worthwhile. That's fucking right. You determined that helping would be worth my while. Because that's the truth about trying to help somebody, is that you, the helper, don't get to decide if it's worth it. You can choose to say, like, to me, doing the action, regardless of circumstance, regardless of results, is worth it, right? I make the decision to help you. Whether you do something with that is you, right? And I think you have to have that kind of perspective because, like, a huge amount of the time that you try to help people, it's not going to land right, and they're not going to take it that way, right? People will take advantage of you. People have taken advantage of me. You who determined that helping would be worth my while. There's a perspective shift in that toward, like, when you get helped. There's this moment of gratitude that's like, I don't deserve this. This isn't worth it. I can't do things with, I can't repay this. I can't, like, even pay it forward. But you can choose to try. And in choosing to try, Emilia chose a path that leads potentially towards success. It's fucking cool. But why? When asking for something, one must show one's sincerity, and she goes fully on the knee. I beg of you, save my master. So I threw in my lot with you, not even believing that you could do it. But now that you've proven yourself and shown that it wasn't worthless, you've really demonstrated. Like, I put my faith into you despite my doubts. That's kind of what she's saying. And it's a really horrible thing to say in some way, right? Roswaal says it later and he doesn't back it up, right? He's just like, I didn't think you could do it. Good on you, I guess. But Ram's perspective is a little bit different. It's like, honestly, Emilia, I didn't think you were strong enough. And in the wake of that, I'm sorry. I've put my faith into you with effort and demonstrated my sincerity by putting my, like, betting on you despite not thinking you could do it. And now showing that you can do it, I'm in. I'm still in. It's interesting. Please save my master. He's been overcome by delusions. Possessed by delusions. They have bound his soul like a curse for a long, long time. I wouldn't mind it. Even if you wouldn't look at me, even if you only thought of me as a tool. So there's this romantic undercurrent there that's quite curious. And in some dimension is a repetition, isn't it? Roswaal pining forever after a woman who is not a woman makes himself untouchable, separated, and Ram saved by him, like the woman who saved him, right? And then Ram saved by him under his power, sort of similar, even if he only thought of me as a tool. But they have already strayed from the path toward a clean conclusion. I see that this doesn't lead to good places. His wish has lost its direction, and that's where on wishes. He clings to words written purely for aesthetics. Whoa. Okay. Big whoa. I mentioned in the last episode that I've been running once more with the help of Keegan of the Nietzsche podcast through Nietzsche's canon. And the idea of people clinging to words written purely for aesthetics is striking. For the look of it, for the act of it, clinging to the words because that is how it has been done, right? Striking that pose again. His wish has lost its direction. I think it's so fascinating because in a zoomed out perspective on America, it's so interesting that this is coming out of a Japanese written story and one that incorporates Catholic sin imagery and different sin imagery, but still of a Western tradition, right? Of a distinctly seven deadlies Christian tradition, maybe pre modern Christian, like Orthodox, the many sins, all that shit. People have been on about this in the comments, and for interesting reasons, for sure. It's very curious where our author pulled his understanding of these beings, entities, words, descriptions, ideas from. But I think in the circumstance that we're in, where we've got this man who is representative of this history and change and magic that has great power, is moving in powerful directions to change the entire world for world-changing reasons and circumstances, believing that the world is all going to come to an end. A very Christian idea. Like we're just on the edge of the great judgment, right? And so don't invest in this world, invest in the next one. That's a very strange and Christian idea, one that Nietzsche would call very life-denying. I think that Friedrich Nietzsche, hundreds of years ago, would have happily written and nodded and agreed with the statement. Well, I'm just going to change specific words in this. The wish of the Christian religion has lost its direction and clings to words written purely for aesthetics. I think that's a perfect description of the way that the traditional conservative Christian situation in America and abroad clings to the aesthetic sensibilities of the patterns of religion, despite them clearly not working, despite them being strayed from the path toward a clean conclusion. I think Friedrich Nietzsche would be all over that shit. I think I'm all over that shit. I think it's just about right. I think you can project it onto other world religions that have failed to maintain their spark in the wake of modernity and science and information. That spark doesn't exist quite as in the way that it did. Delusions that have strayed from the path toward a clean conclusion. And so a change must be made. The cycle must be interrupted. The stage that was set hundreds of years ago by Roswaal and his teacher that he still believes in must be stopped. We were set in a direction all that time ago, and things have changed since then. The world is different. We can't cling to ancient prophecies in order to determine the fate of a changing world. And we can't cling to the way that people were in order to determine the way that people should be. Context changes everything. Roswaal is so set on this inability to change in himself. And yet he is able to look at Emilia and go, you just keep changing. You keep growing. Yeah, man. That thing that you internally don't seem to believe is possible keeps happening. So please break through that, I beg of you. Silver-haired half-elf, emblem of rejection and outcastness from society. Witch of envy, reincarnate, something like that. Vessel of dark things. I ask of you, take over. Lead us into the future. And it's unclear how that works. How does that fulfill his wish or break his wish or change his wish? Unclear, because he said some wild shit about the dragon and stuff, and I don't fucking know how that works. So there are these layers that don't quite make sense yet, and that's fine, but it's curious. So assume the throne, and his wish will be fulfilled. But that day will come. Please tell him that it will come. So give him a reason to live through both the present and the future, instead of living only in this past and this book and these delusions. Please save him. And she says, well, I don't really get it. I don't fully understand. But with this is the first time you've ever asked something of me, okay, I want to repay it. So I'm going to start. And this sigh and this wow. And so he arrives. Congratulations. And a shiver and a shudder. Ram is the one in fear. My concern is genuine. You could even say I pity you. Pity's not a great feeling to have directed at you, is it? Compassion is one thing, but pity removes agency. When Mr. T says, I pity the fool, it's because the fool can never grow out of being a fool. Pity is the expression that you give to someone who can't change. Right? It's giving up. When you pity somebody, you're giving up on them. You're not saying, I recognize and I see your struggles and maybe you'll change. You go, well, I really pity you. You're stuck that way. You're going to be like that forever. And the only thing that I can offer you is like this faux condolence, this pity. That I look down upon you because I understand you in fullness. I know what you're capable of and I know you can't change. That's pity. Pity is not something you want to be on the other end of. And as a young person emerging into yourself and figuring out who you are, making hard decisions, pushing through your struggles, and actively improving, to have an old man come up and say, I pity you, that's pretty fucking gross, old man. Fuck you. I pity you from the bottom of my heart. And then he says this, which I think is really interesting. You have no idea how to be loved other than to do what other people expect of you. Fuck. Working backward from that, the statement would be, I am only worthy of love if I do what people expect, if I fulfill people's expectations, would be the internal statement. That has 100% been Subaru's perspective, right? And it's like, if I don't fulfill my own expectations. I don't know. It's interesting coming out of Emilia's previous trial. Because it does hit the mark right there. It's like, there's a way to read it that way, right? To be loved by Mother Fortuna, Emilia had to follow her promise. That's the logic. But that's not it. That's not it. Emilia followed her promise because Mother Fortuna loved her. Right? Right? Mother Fortuna loves me, and so I choose the promise, right? I told her I would do this. That's why she does it. It's broken. I'm not sure. Yet you are forced to confront a past that you never wanted, because you've done what other people have expected of you, right? So you haven't made any choices for yourself. So congratulations with pity and compassion. You've overcome the trial. I was convinced you couldn't do it. Okay, thanks, man. That's kind of dickish. Are you reconsidering? I really like her voice actress here. Gotta say this. Mikaiseta? There's some fucking snark in there, right? Emilia's like, I'm holding a gun to you, motherfucker. You gonna reconsider? You gonna treat me with a little bit of dignity and respect, maybe? You wanna maybe not pity my ass? And yes, I've worried you plenty. All I've been able to do is lose my nerve. I've been weak and I've been foolish. I've caused so much trouble for people, all these people, but they saved me. I was useless and they lent me a helping hand. I can't just go on being discouraged. That's a very different kind of weakness than the kind that Roswaal has expressed, isn't it? That's like, I talked pessimism of weakness, pessimism of strength. This is an optimism of weakness. That's what it is. This is an optimism of weakness. The fact that I was weak enabled all these people to lend me a helping hand, and that let me recognize my weakness, and in recognizing my weakness, grow towards strength. That's an optimism of weakness. Yes, I am weak and can grow beyond it in the recognition of it because I have help. Okay? And because I have the strength to ask for help, which we just reaffirmed the importance of by having Ram ask her for help. I think that's pretty solid. I think that's pretty good. Okay. They lent me a helping hand, and then in turn asked for help. Emilia gives the help back. Cool. Roswaal never asked for fucking help. Does he? No. No. I don't think so. Huh. Interesting. You say the same things as Subaru. Are you simply repeating his words? How dare you? How dare you? But of course, that's exactly what he sees. You borrow these words. The place has been prepared for you. All of these things that you've done are just you following the roads that I've laid, the paths that others have made for you. You're just continuing to make choices, but really you're just a pachinko ball plinking down a set path, right? Someone has already decided all of this for you, and you think of yourself as a decider, but you're not. And even knowing that, Subaru keeps pushing you forward into darkness and despair. He keeps making you do pain. Why does he keep doing that? Like, what if that's the way toward becoming strong, though? Well, we both know him, and Roswaal doesn't. It's super interesting for him to say, we both know him, I understand him completely, is what he's saying. I know him so well, we are cut from the same cloth, we are the same. And so in this situation, he would do exactly what I would do, and I understand him. He doesn't. He doesn't. So what would Subaru do? He would be emphatic and emotional, and he'd be pushy, and he'd convince you with a really loud pep talk. Am I wrong? Isn't that all he did? He came up to you and gave you a cool pep talk about how cool and strong you are? Am I wrong? All he's done is impose a self-satisfaction, forcing you to fit his ideal, asserting emotionally only that he believes that you can do it. You can do it! But that isn't what he did, is it? He called out her weakness. He saw her as her and accepted her as such. And in that, acceptance of weakness is real strength, right? Emilia can walk into the trial knowing that he's going to love her even if she can't do it. That's the only way she's able to do it. Does that make sense? Maybe it shouldn't, right? Maybe the thing that should make sense, and I think the thing that Roswaal thinks would make sense is only with all of the pressure behind you, only with the looming, yawning pit of absolute failure could you ever move forward, right? Encouragement and stuff just to get you to take the leap. That was what Subaru did. And I thought you were just going to fall into the pit because I don't think you actually have it, and I know that kind of encouragement doesn't really work. It's empty and hollow, and there's no other option. But there is another option. Subaru didn't tell her leap across the pit. He told her, I'll catch you if you fall. I know it's hard. I think we can do this. I know there's weakness here. We are two of a kind, and the world spins. We both force our ideals upon the women that we love. I'm sure of all of this. What he must have done is treat you with the utmost kindness and respect and spoil you. Kindness and care. Never even considered that you might be different. There might be more going on. No, indeed, all he loves is the ideal inside his own mind. Am I wrong? And the answer is yes, you are wrong. Is that all you got, bro? If that's all you've got, then you're wrong. You're not the same at all. He called me the fuck out. Told me to move forward. And it's not exactly what he said, but it's the way that she had to take it. I was weak, all talk, and insufficient. And I'm grateful that he called me out for that weakness. Because unlike Roswaal, who shrinks away from weakness, who's been spent, well, we might say he's maybe compensating for something a little bit. Big mansion and stuff, all the clothes, all the power, all the haughtiness and indignity and indignance and ego and all of this shit. Maybe he's compensating for feeling really weak on the inside and not being willing to recognize that weakness. Maybe he's still just a little boy who got beaten the fuck down by a warlock of melancholy. And he's never gotten back up. So he's thought everybody else should be like that too. But at the same time, he thinks of himself as greatly strengthened by it. He's broken, really broken. She's accepted her weakness. When I want to change, he takes my hand and helps me. Don't you think he was just deceiving you? Using tact to get you back on my feet? Lying? This is my favorite line in the episode. First, no, he wasn't lying. And then, when he said he believed in me, it won't turn into a lie. I won't let it. I decide what to make of it. I'll turn the lies into wishes. Because what's the difference? Possibility. If it's a lie about the past, that's a lie, right? That's already happened. But if it's a thing that is false that you say about the future, there's one distinction, and that's whether it can happen. If I say the moon will explode today, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to happen. It's a lie. If I were to really, emphatically try to get you to believe that the moon is going to explode today, I'd be lying. If I say humans will live on the moon, that might be a wish, right? Possibility. I'll turn the lies into wishes. Fuck. It's what I need to do and what I want to do. Great. You just continue to change. This is why I pity you. The decision you've made that justifies you getting hurt is already meaningless in this world that will soon end. Don't you get it? It's all inevitable. It's all going to end anyway. It doesn't matter. It's all meaningless. Then so isn't your action too? I'm not sure. I'm really curious about this. It seems like a last gasp to hold on to himself, even though he recognizes that's incredibly difficult for me to accept. And the wind starts blowing. It's like, and so I refuse to accept it. More precisely, it is moving toward its end. The world has strayed from the correct path, the written path, probably, and now proceeds toward the wrong destination. Wrong by whose estimation? Yours or the book's? All of this has lost all its meaning. He shakes his head as though it's all over. Why do you sound like you're giving up? Didn't we start this? No, 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 no. What's wrong is wrong. Don't give up. It's too selfish. I'll show you. Okay. I'll take care of the favor too. But it was my teacher. Yeah. Okay. So there's this. How much conversation did you hear? And he walks up and is like, you're a really good actor. Thanks for lying for me. Being nice. Also, you've been assisting them with Garfield. I'm sure that that must have been, you thought it was the right thing to do. That's great. Here's your order. And he doesn't even consider that she might not be on his side. He's so confident. And she inclines her head again. And if we believe her, she doesn't mean it. Okay, here's the bet I don't really understand. And here we are. Why are you here? Remove you from the witch's delusions. I've always considered them such. I've just never said it out loud. Well, and he puts it all together in an instant. I suppose your humiliating days spent yielding to me have been long. I thought your behavior was a way of expressing your devotion. I don't understand this. A fine line in the final confrontation, but he's got timing. He sure does. And you have the book. You would have to have the book. And so she's going to try to destroy the book. And then this just desserts statement. This is deeply curious because it expresses to us something that I questioned many moons ago. Is Roswaal a member of the group that orchestrated the attack on Ram and Ram's village? Because his timing showing up was really convenient to get himself a couple of very powerful assets that he just happened to swoop in and save at just the right moment to make them loyal to him forever. Sword, sword, magic, magic, fire, fire, and a demon, a demon. Whatever one relies upon should be the thing that brings about their death. How far does that extend, I wonder? And so he offers himself to her as an empty husk. Whether I let you live or kill you is up to me, as though this is a deal that they've had the whole time. You had no choice but to swear loyalty against your will to one of the men who destroyed your homeland and live with him, he says. And this seems to indicate exactly that. That the losing of the horn, the ability to maintain the form was all lost, and she was forced to swear to one of the men who destroyed your homeland? Or is that a race thing? I don't understand. So he says, I understand you've suffered so much. You're such a useful pawn, so it is such a shame that you made this mistake, right? You came and told me about it instead of attacking me when I was in the midst of this magic. True shame. And then he brings out his whole plan. I'm going to make snow fall, and that will change the world. But there would have been no meaning in just attacking you with your back turned. So then there is meaning into this? She's trying to save him. He doesn't believe it. He doesn't understand at all. Being offered a husk would mean nothing. I will not allow your wish to become true. Curious. And I do understand you, and so I bring Puck in. Which is sick, and a cool setup for a cool fight that I hope will be fucking awesome. On this side of things, Petra's real sad and scared, and Subaru gets to heroically arrive in the right moment, which is fucking awesome. I love Elsa. This is a very exciting setup for a very exciting battle. And Garf and Frederica get to see each other and hang out a little bit, and he gets to do a little brother, big brother sort of thing. Like, I'm the homie, I'm here. The best defense, the best offense, and the best duo. The best brother-sister combo. Fuck yeah, furries versus murderers. Let's go. That's fun. Okay. A very dialogue-focused episode. A lot of them are. That's fine. Very dialogue-focused episode as we do this sort of final setup for the battles that are to come. And I think we're going to leave it there for right now and say thanks for watching this one as our characters piece together their last sort of statements of intent before we launch into a set of battles that I think in many ways must be a battle of ideals. It's interesting that we're doing this in a way where it's Emilia on her side in the trial, and then it's Ram facing down Roswaal, because our parallel was Subaru versus Roswaal. But I think we can do the parallel through how Subaru expresses his like what he's trying to do in all these interactions and communications with different people, because the network of people that's working against Roswaal here is huge. It's like a bunch of people all working together. It's teamwork making the dream work. It's like Subaru's ideals are really invested in every element of this, in reforging this family bond between these two characters, in being here to save Frederica, in standing up for and with Betty in order to make her feel more connected, right? And make that connection that she doesn't believe is possible. And then Emilia is fighting on Subaru's team too, right? She's over there fighting in the trial for her own reasons, but she's on Subaru's team. And Ram is fighting as part of Subaru's team because of a bet that she's made because she believes in him, right? All of these things come back around where it's like everybody is arrayed against Roswaal because they believe in Subaru. And all of them in their own ways are making the argument, making the case for Subaru's idealism against Roswaal's delusions. So we don't need to have a direct 1v1 convo fight, where the two of them argue their immediate ideals and then battle each other. It's playing out over the course of this grand stage, a stage which, to be fair, Roswaal has had the advantage of setting. Subaru has seen the play a couple of times, right? He's seen how it all plays out, so he knows when to jump in and make changes. But that's sort of our scenario. All the stage is set, our characters are merely players, and whose tune will they dance to in the end? We find out in the next couple of episodes. Thanks so much for joining me for these episodes of ReZero. Thank you so much. I love you so much. There are going to be early access videos on the Patreon. Check them out. I'll see you next time for more. Much love. Peace.